Right, welcome back to another wonderful overdue episode of Hooney's Garage. Actually got quite a lot of things to get done, but as usual, not enough time to get them done in. First of all, I'd like to give a massive, big thank you very much to Gary for welding up. I know he likes getting a mention in these videos. So, all right, Gary, all right, fella. For welding up the back end, the tailpiece for the FJ. You might remember this cardboard thing that I made that went over the back end of the Rat, and to give me somewhere that I can put a tent, a sleeping bag, because I am going to want to take it to rallies. And we cut out the templates and everything else. Well, yesterday I managed to get up to go and visit some friends, one of them being Gary, and took up the templates with me, and here we have. Was an old Servador, is now the tailpiece for an FJ Rat, and it's a rat bike, so it hasn't got to be tidy. But Gary, being Gary, if you want a job done badly, if you want a welding job done badly, don't ask Gary to do it, because he won't. I did say it doesn't have to be neat or tidy, because it is going on a rat bike, and I'm going to cover this top piece with like a rubber car mat, because if it's just painted, the temps so they just slip off it. So. But yeah, you don't do it by us, all nice and neat and tidy. So thank you very much, Gary. That is what we're doing today. Also, I am going to need indicators for the Rat bike. Now, following the Rat ethos is to use what you've got in the parts bin, or recycle something. I don't have enough indicators, is the problem. So what I need is more indicators. So, seeing as I'm not supposed to spend any money on that particular bike, I spent some money on another bike, and when I put it, there it is. Got some new LED indicators for Perry's bike, the GSX, which are blue, because it's just got the standard bulb ones on there, and they're fine, they're fantastic, there's nothing wrong with them, they work brilliantly, but they do look a bit standard. So following on, I think of just picking off the blue in the bike with small decals, I thought I'd give these a shot. They were something like £11.45, and they came with a flasher unit, because when you bulb indicators and LED indicators, they're different, obviously, and they're also different in the way that they use or draw power from the bike. These don't take as much, so you need, if you're going to put LED indicators on your bike, you need to put some sort of resistor in place. Del Boy's got a video on how to do that, because he had LED indicators on the back, or buy a set that come with an LED flashing unit, one specifically for them. So those £11.45 for those, including the flasher unit, free delivery. There is one of them actually with a chip missing out of it, and I posted a photograph back to the eBayer that I got them from. They apologised, and they're sending me a whole new set. Whether I'm going to get a whole new set of just the lights, or whether I'm going to get a whole new set of lights and flasher unit, I don't know. But I'll be impressed if they send me another 4 of these, fantastic, no problem with them at all, for £11.45. I mean, you can tell they're not. These are not Gucci's sort of level of quality. Well, even Gucci's not that great, but these are not high quality items. But they are blue. So, which means now, because I bought these for the other bike, which I am allowed to spend money on, the indicators from that bike now become part of the bin tin, which I can use on the Rat bike. So there we go. See, there's nothing wrong with making sure you've got the parts that you need in your parts bin when you're building your bike. So yeah, but these, I'm saving this job, because the last of the garage goblins, well, not the last of the garage goblins, Oliver's a little bit too young to come out. Harriet wants to come out to the garage and do a job, so I'm thinking we'll get Harriet to change the indicators, so that'll be a job. If you're watching this video, Harriet, that's what you're doing. So what else? Oh yeah, and because I also got, while I'm not looking at camera, the 415 arrived. This stuff, 415. I think the one that I'd heard of was one called Pet Seal, and it's to seal the petrol tank for the TZR, because on the inside it's just rust. So you need to get rid of all of that. So I've bought a kit that was recommended by Jeff. Hi Jeff. Now you get a mention in the video as well. You're happy now? Right. So this Paul 15, because he's used it and he says it's brilliant. I've heard a lot of good reports about it. Not really heard anything negative. So this, however, is there's some nasty chemicals in here. So this isn't really something I can do with the kids. So this is something I will need to do on my own. And it's a complete kit. You get this degreaser and the metal prep. You're supposed to put the degreaser in first with a load of nuts and bolts and washers and give it a good shake so it takes all the surface rust off the inside. Drain it out. Metal prep to prep the metal. That's what it says on the box, or the plastic bottle in this case. Let that treat the rust and the metal in whatever way it does that, and then you put on the fuel tank sealer around the inside, and you have to keep rotating the tank, and then this should provide a seal all the way around the tank, like it's almost like a second skin. So that's coming up as well. I have also been given some advice that the best thing to do, because the tank is so rusty, is get some white vinegar and a load of nuts and bolts. Count them in the tank so that you know when you come to empty it that you counted the same out that you counted in, because there's nothing worse than getting it on. There's nothing worse than getting it all up and done, moving the tank, and all of a sudden as a bolt or a spray washer falls around the inside. So count them in, white vinegar, give it a good shake, rinse it out, then start with this stuff, because it is really bad. So we'll try that. So that'll be on another video coming up. And because now I've got the Paul 15 and the tank can get started, that also means the plastics can get started. I have settled on satin black, so I've bought, I don't know if this stuff is any good. I was using this stuff, which came out of a pound shop, but seeing that the way that even when it was dry, if you put tape over it, it would mark it, and you couldn't get. I tried polishing it, it wouldn't get it off. On the rat bike, yeah, all right, maybe not too much of an issue. You want maybe that little bit of lived in or dented, mucked about, I don't know what's the word, ridden look, I guess. But for the TZR, I do want to make this look as nice as I can. So really, I think the cheap paint is not the way to go. I mean, this stuff wasn't expensive, but it's satin black. The frame's been powder coated in satin black, so satin black paint is the way to go. For the rest of it, I've got 6 cans of this. Overkill, but it can sit on the shelf until the next time I do something, because I like satin black. Johnny Cactus is right, satin black is great. And because of that, I also picked up some plastic primer and some metal primer. And I've still got the acid etch primer there as well if I need that. So quite a few jobs to get on with, but for this episode, getting that tailpiece on the FJ. So stick around, stay tuned. How hard can it be? Right, so here we have it sort of in situ. I left this, I don't know if I mentioned in the video, because of the way that this is folded, I wasn't sure how much extra metal you would need to take into consideration for that fold. So I left this bit a little bit longer than I needed to, which has ended up with, we've got a lip here that I need to cut off, which has obviously meant that this is now lower down than it needs to be. So when the sides line up for the bolts, this is really difficult to do this with one hand. Ideally what you want is, or not that, ideally. Oh dear. Need a tripod. You need that, obviously that top piece to be flat, and now that there is lower than it should be, that's now leaning forward. And I don't really want to lean it forward because that's where my camping equipment is going, and I don't want to be that leaning on my back for the entire journey. So I've got to cut that down and then reshape that to match the rear mudguard. Right, so Rat Fudge, ta-da! That is spot on. That fits an absolute treat. All I've done is just mark a hole, drill it, put a bolt in it, put it back on so it holds that side up, like that bolt, drill it. We have got some nasty points where they come down right here. I am gonna circle those off. I've got to line these either with the you know, the trim you get around old cars and around the doors, either something like that or some silicone tubing and just glue it on all the way around, and that's going to be a difficult corner to get around, so I'm just going to sort of smooth that out a bit. But yeah, spot on. And as you can see from the, if I come back over here from this side, it's not really it's not level. It needs to be flat, because that's where the camping equipment's going. I don't want it leaning forward, and as I said before, it's because I included a little bit too much extra in the length of this overall, because it's 3 pieces, that template, that part there, and then this was all one piece that was folded, so it's a little bit higher here, so I need to mark, hence the reason for the Sharpie on the back, and this camera's crap, where I need to sand it down so I can lower the back down a bit and bring that more level. So there we go, using the flapper disc. Right, so we're taking the back end taking the back end down a bit. It's still not, I know the bike is slightly on an incline that way, but that's still not flat, that's still, yeah, still a little bit out. So I've marked up on the back where I need to take just some more up, just to lower that back end just a shade, and I'm just taking it a little bit at a time, because if I take too much off and it ends up going that way, it's more difficult to put metal back in than it is to just take off a little bit at a time. I'm guessing, there's me sounding like an expert, that's just what it seems like. So off again and some more of that. Right, so after a bit of feckling, we are now on, and now you can see hopefully better what I mean about it trapping the back end of that seat. So this can now stay in. I have got, actually, you see it up there, the foam to do that, but I forgot to pick up the spray glue. Well, actually I didn't forget to pick up the spray glue. I went into the store, forgot completely that I was in there to get the spray glue, completely slipped my mind, and then bought the primer for the plastic and the metal. But there we go. But it is on, and it looks pretty good. Yep, liking that. So now I've got a little bit of time. I wonder if we can get some indicators on there, because I think that's where the indicators, I could mount them on there. A friend did point out that I could mount them on the rear sets, but I think they're a little bit too low down. But I'll mount them on the side of that, no problems at all. Right, so here we are. We've one of the indicators fitted, the other indicator on top, and for the quick of sight amongst you, no, that's a go. They don't match. Rat bike, parts from the spares box don't match. I don't think there is going to be a matching set of indicators anywhere on this bike when I'm finished. No two will be the same from the parts I've got in the spare box anyway. So yeah, that's the first one on, and unfortunately I've run out of time, so that one is going to have to wait. But that, I'm really chuffed with that. That looks pretty much exactly how I wanted it to look. I have got to take these corners off here, and Gary has said that it might be worthwhile just putting the bow in there so it follows the line of the frame rails, although rat bike doesn't really matter, we'll see. But yeah, but fantastic, absolutely spot on, loving it. Right, well, unfortunately out of time, didn't get to finish doing everything I wanted to do on the tailpiece for Fudge. I did want to get the other indicator in, but I've got to go, I haven't got time to do it, and if I'm late I'm going to get shouted at, so that's not good. But wicked, absolutely fantastic. So another big huge thank you to Gary, and a big shout out to AG&J motorcycles. I said I get that in there as well. Do an absolutely fantastic job. If they're a bit like the A-Team though, if you have a bike and you want it serviced, and if nobody can do it properly, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire AG&J motorcycles. There you go. So Not sure when I'll be in the garage next, because I'm working almost permanent 10 till 7, 10 in the morning till 7 at night, which doesn't really give me a lot of time to get into the garage, get everything out, sort it out, and then start doing something. So not sure when the next one will be. It might just be every weekend at the moment. So, but I'm going to get this place tidied up and then get gone. So I will see you on the next episode of Luna's Garage.